I will be doing a fiction short film for my final, and it'll be about a character who gets pretty addicted to a stranger on the internet.
It's following this girl, Taylor, who was recently in a car accident, and in the accident she actually lost her vision. It's sort of just following her as she's recovering from that and trying to become comfortable in her own skin again.
My film is a portrait documentary about my grandmother and about who she is to me and who she is to a lot of other people, I think.
The original vision was to talk about Atlanta and why it is known as like the Hollywood of the South, why people should move to Atlanta. She was supposed to be like, yes, I moved to Atlanta for this reason and I do all this stuff in Atlanta. But then when I interviewed her and stuff, it's like we barely talked about Atlanta. And so we talked more like about her own personal life and like her acting career. And that was really nice.
I've always want to do something that is meaningful for me. I am pretty addicted to my phone. To be honest, I prefer those relationships online that I build, like the friendships I built. For me, it's easier to deal with those relationships than the real life ones. I know it's not healthy to think like this, so that's why I'm doing a similar topic. I'm trying to arouse like people's awareness.
I got the idea from a movie I recently saw called Color of Paradise. It follows a little boy who's also blind, and I just think they shot him so beautifully and really like showed how like him experiencing the world through sound and touch really well, and they like use the camera to do that. But I want to try to like challenge myself to explore a blind character that same way.
Well, for me, I think watching movies taught me human dynamics. It taught me about different ways of life. You know, I got to look into different worlds. She has always been incredibly supportive of me and my desire to be doing anything creative, really. She was the one who really got me into movies. Out of all of my family members, she's really the only one in my family that loves movies the way that I do. And so I have to credit her with introducing me to my passion.
I was like, I know I want to do a documentary, but I don't know what, because the assignment was to do the following day, of course, was, you know, pitch your idea. And you're like, why don't you just do a documentary on, you know, you don't sound like that. Why don't you just do a documentary about what it means to be an actor? And I'm like, oh. And I was like, do you mind if I do that?
Thankfully, I checked soon enough in the week to know it's gonna be raining, and I followed Rob's suggestion of that was the first scene I shot, and so I kept pushing it back, and I was like, all right, let's go do the other stuff. And then we were like recording some of the voiceovers, and like I was sitting by the window, and just whenever it would like get sunny, I'd be like, let's go. We'd run outside and do a couple minutes.
So films are mediums to convey ideas, right? So because of my language issues or cultural ones, it is little hard for me to study media and films in the States. So that's the first challenge, and that's why I prefer not to use too many dialogues or conversational stuff.
I don't live near my grandmother, and I think my most intimate and telling moments with her are when it's just me and her. And out of love to have incorporated some of those moments into this film. Just get to be with her too, because it's different. I mean, yes, you can record your Skype interview or record a phone call, and that's great, but I don't know, there's something different about, I don't know if this is true, but I feel like there's something different about both of us when we're together.
Jess lives in Marietta, which is about a 45-minute drive when there's no traffic. That's why I had to hit her up like, hi Jess, how are you?
I was having a problem with one of my actresses one of the days of shooting, of just not having like a great attitude and not really wanting to be there and not staying on script. And just the best way I thought to handle it then was just trying to remain positive and not show how annoyed I was. I think that helped not make matters worse.
A challenge in this one will be, so in both my films there is only one character. So first is, I want him to interact with the audience. So that's the first challenge.
Okay. Why don't you send me the MARTA thing? I'll come pick you up.
Okay, that sounds really good. I don't know what I did to my camera. Like, I changed the exposure thing, but then it still looked really bright.
What's tricky is like, so, you know, Rob, our professor, he says that it's going to be a better movie if you care about it and if it's something that you're interested in. And I totally agree with that, but it also puts a lot of pressure on the person making that movie, because, you know, I don't want to disappoint anyone who's going to see this, especially not the person I'm making it for. And it's like, because I'm more passionate about it, I'm also more likely to be disappointed in my work.
Because I knew how much work was going to go into it, so I was like, all right, I want to make sure this is script. I'm something I'm passionate about, something that I want to put all these hours in for, and not some like crappy thing I threw together. Just, all right, what mindset do I need to be in? And like, I kept having ideas like, oh, this is great. I was like, oh, there's no way I could shoot this by myself. And so finally getting over the hurdle of like having a script I was happy with and felt like I could potentially pull off was probably the biggest relief I've had so far.
I just want to make sure that that feeling doesn't like stifle the work that I can do. But it's tricky. It's like, it's tricky. I don't know, I'm just worried that like, I'm gonna watch it at the end and then I'm just gonna be like, this is shit. If it's bad, then I'm just gonna go into like a state of self-deprecation and just like mourn my failed project and my, you know, inability to create the way I want to. But I also recognize that it's like my first filmmaking class and I gotta give myself a break.
So I guess what the script one was just getting as many eyes on it as I could to get their feedback. Trying to like be open to critique and people's suggestions and hearing their thoughts and adapting to that was definitely very helpful with the script.
I try to make films that is meaningful for me, and the good thing is I'll be really exciting about making them, but recently I found out the bad side of it is I'll give myself too much pressure because I really want to show people my ideas, which is not that possible, like completely 100%. Because once you really care about something, you really want to make it exactly what you want, but I am not that like perfect in technology or planning or scripts writing, so it's a process, so it may not turn out to be the best version. If you ask me what it is about or what message I want to show, I can tell you about it, but once it's in the format of a short film, I'm not going to like narrate or talk about the theme while the movie is going on. It's really hard to turn ideas into images or short videos.
When I was doing my documentary, I kind of did something similar, how like you're talking to me, but you're off screen. And I didn't know how like, I feel like that looks super lazy in my film, how it's just like, so that me asking her questions. But literally, in my documentary, you'll hear me behind the camera and then she answers. No, I thought about that. I'm like, wow, this seems like really like low level, like low effort.
You know, Rob says you have to make a movie that pleases you. And in this case, because it is kind of for my grandmother, obviously I'm going to not include, you know, like a rap song with like booties in it or whatever.
Is that what would please you though?
Maybe. Maybe.
I definitely have that emotional tie to it, and I think part of it is because I did get to a part of being pretty proud of the script and pretty proud and excited for like the vision I had for it before I started shooting. And so there's been a couple of shots or scenes that like watching like the dailies or something, it just didn't ever like fully get to like the picture I had in my mind, and I was like really upset. You want it to go well, and you know, you feel, and it's like, because I'm not working with another classmate on it, it's like purely my video that like I'm spending time on. I don't want it to suck.
The first film, the first short one I made with Claire, that one also like is something that I can feel related to. It's about a girl who like cares a lot about her appearance. That was the first, technically that was the first film, like complete one I've made. So I'm satisfied with that. For the things I will be doing, I need to be at least satisfied with it when it's complete. And if it's good, I'll be happy with it.
First of all, I've never done a film by myself entirely. And this long, I don't know how long is mine going to be because it has like the weird numbers right now. But I think it's like 10 minutes, like when I'm done with everything, which I'm like proud of. And I did like put a lot of work in it. I'm still like comparing it to my peers who I feel like have a lot more complexity.
Because our family is so big and we are really different, complicated people, and we have a lot of conflicting personalities, I'm worried that people are going to have opinions about it and judgments about it. And I don't want to upset anyone. I don't want people to feel like, oh, she didn't focus on this part of her life enough, or everybody's going to have an opinion about what they think the movie should be. Yeah, everybody who's ever met her has a slightly different idea of who she is, and that's just the way the cookie crumbles. And
that's for sure gonna be in the doc.
You just kind of just got to be like, well, you know, if it upsets you, then I'm sorry, and it's not for you.
You know, I keep thinking about that. I'm like just so worried about showing it to everyone and just no one getting it or feeling anything from it. Like in moments I'm hoping people will feel something. But I think moments of having your trust broken by someone, I mean people are able to relate with her in that regards, and kind of feel, not like just feel bad for her, but like understand how bad that feels. Joy, I guess, and feeling happy when you see her find a place of comfort and confidence and happiness, that people feel that themselves.
I ended up doing a stupid thing. I was inspired by a scene in La La Land, so I asked my character he comes in, hands in the paperwork, and then he sits there and narrates the story.
Now, if she doesn't like it, then I'll be really sad. But she's not that kind of person at all. She'll like take whatever she's given and be grateful. All of the crazy things that have happened to her haven't turned her bitter. They haven't made her mean. They haven't made her resentful. They haven't made her lose faith in God, in her God, you know, like all of these things that just, you know, she's a really strong person. And she's remained like kind and generous and true to herself through all of it. And that's really admirable.
And then she was like, and if you ever need anything, I know you're going to be in Atlanta for the next 3 years, so that you can just come over if you need a meal and have a good, all that. She was just being so sweet. And I was like, oh my gosh, I got to make this documentary good just for you.
I really enjoyed working with my main girl because it was like a couple hours over 3 days together, and she was super kind. And I hope my final product will give her performance justice, because she definitely gave a good performance for me. So,
you know, ideally I would like to also do something similar for my grandfather on my dad's side. those are my only two surviving grandparents, and he has a very amazing life too, and he's also an important figure in my life.
A couple of times. I mean, like, yeah, it's been overwhelming to do it by myself while on set, or like while shooting was very challenging. Just like trying to do everything, where I was like, focus on the lighting and the sound and the focus of the camera and the acting, and like where I kept thinking like, man, it would be nice if like know the ones I'm better at, focus on those, and have someone else that's better at my weaknesses, and let them focus on that.
I realized that people need to cooperate, because I used to work alone, and I really enjoy working individually because I'm someone who doesn't like to work with people. I was pretty happy that we finally got a chance to work alone, and then it turns out that we really need someone else to help us. That's the lesson that I learned in this Main Master.
Have you learned anything from this final film?
I don't like that question.
Go.